What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ayana Audible. It's your girl, Ayana Marie, and I'm back again today with licensed therapist DC King Carter. What's the deal?
What's
How you
going on
doing,
with you?
King?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good. Came in here smelling all like cocoa butter and all that stuff.
I gotta keep the oils real close to the body. Make sure I'm nice and moisturized. I ain't want to come in here, smelling like the day. So,
Happy to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So, I told you we are going to start with some icebreaker questions.
Okay,
You good? We good?
Yeah. Normally I'm the one doing the icebreaker, so go ahead. Huh? You making my
Okay, well,
job
I'm
easy
doing them today.
Hey, how about it? I'm a participant. Let it
All
ride.
right. So, what's your favorite time period and era, and why?
Now, it's easy to pick something that seemed ideal that we weren't really a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But I get to actually be a part of this one, and I get to, in real time, create some sort of change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody may have an idealistic understanding of, like, I wish it was this time, or I wish it was that time. It's like, but what were you really doing during that time? Would you have the ability to do what you're doing right now? If I travel back in time, whatever, say 50, 60 years, I couldn't be no licensed therapist back then.
Why not?
Because people weren't even taking mental health seriously.
But what would you be? You probably wouldn't be doing this, but you would be doing something else.
I would be doing something.
Yeah.
Just knowing myself, I'm always going to figure out a way to benefit the community. And I don't know what the future holds, but I'm actively in real time creating the future or affecting the future right now. So why wish to be somewhere
True.
else when I could just focus on what I can do right now?
I like that. That's true. I thought you would have probably said maybe like early 2000s.
Nah, it's funny. Like, the closer I get to 40, so I'll be 38 this year. The closer I get to 40, everybody wants to go back in time to their 20s or to the early. Like, you want to go back to being stupid? We were stupid. You was in your 20s doing dumb stuff, making terrible decisions, and you learned all these lessons that you get to apply now in adulthood. Why do you want to go back to being dumb as opposed to just making the most of what you learned now and taking the opportunity of enjoying your life? So I'm cool. I ain't even like everything back when I was in the 2000s. I was going through my own personal struggle. So why do I want to go back to a time when I was struggling internally or whatever? No, I'm cool.
I see
now
what
with
you're
the progress
saying there.
I made.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So what was the last thing you had a dream about?
The last thing I had a dream about. I know I had a dream this morning. And I remembered it for a little while. Now I don't remember it no more. Now that you asking me, I forget exactly what happened. I think it might have had something to do with, I don't know if it was relationship based with a bunch of other adventure stuff going on. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like I can remember it in the moment and it's cool, but I don't need to remember it. So I just kind of let it go. I may decipher it. I'm like, what's that mean? And then I think about it for a second. I'm like, all right, let's let it go. But I dreamed something this morning. I know for sure.
Yeah,
Because
I had a dream last night too, but I forgot it. Like as soon as I woke up, it was so weird. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, those little quick dreams that you think lasted a long time, and it was really all of 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like, damn. It's like for the first 30 seconds, I remember everything, and then it's like I start doing shit, and then I was like, damn, I had a dream. What was that about? How I forget that shit that quick? What the fuck? That's crazy.
Sorry, you have a new one tonight.
I don't dream all the time though.
Now,
that's the thing.
That might depend.
I get good sleep, but I don't dream all the time though. I be
done.
knocked out. I be in another realm,
right.
But I don't be knowing what's going on. What's the best book you ever read?
The best book I ever read. Dang, that's hard. For some reason, the one that comes to mind right now is Man Not is one of them. I forget the author. I'd have to look it up. But it's a book called The Man Not. Mm-hmm. And it's basically just talking about how our society doesn't and hasn't looked at black men as human beings. So even making sure that we within our own culture start to look at black men differently, to humanize them as opposed to dehumanize them, which American history has been doing since inception, pretty much. So that's one of the books that came to mind. But there's the Blackmail Handbook. That's another book that comes to mind. I don't want to say anything from Brene Brown, but I do enjoy Brene Brown books. She's also a LCSW in our field. She's one of the more popular people that has an LCSW. I enjoy her books as well. And then Minister Farrakhan's book. I enjoy his book as well. So.
Okay. Dope. I knew you was gonna have a list.
Oh yeah, I can go through the scroll right now, and that's not even all of them because I'm pretty sure I'm missing quite a few books that I actually enjoy. But I send people books all the time. I even posted in my story like more times than not. Whatever book I'm listening to, because I listen to books while I'm lifting. So whatever book I'm listening to, I'll normally post it because there's something in there that I'm gonna come to somebody and ask them a question or post some sort of thought, or I've used it even in like the healing circles or discussion groups that I have, like questions that came to me from listening to the book. So I'll just share the book and people will normally get it from there. But I'm always sharing some audio book or book that I'm looking at.
Okay. Have you read any Robert Greene books?
The name sounds familiar. Give me a title.
He has the 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
That's your favorite?
Honestly, no. It's not. That book is very interesting because a lot of people don't like that book, and I had to force myself to try to get out of my way of looking at it because you have to read it with a certain perspective. You can't just read that book.
Right.
You got to be in a certain mode to understand what he's trying to implement for the people to understand. So, yeah, I had to like really understand that like it's not what I think it is, but it's a great book to learn as a citizen in the world, as a civilian in this society. You know, you don't want to get ate up as a fish with all these sharks out here. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's long story short. It's gonna put you up on game. I will say that.
Absolutely, I love those type of books. I love books that, I mean, I'm very non-conventional in general anyway. So any book that's making you think outside the norm, I appreciate it. Like Immortality Key is another book that comes to mind. That's just a book that explores like a different perspective on biblical times. And a guy did research of traveling to all these different museums and gaining access to the Vatican and scriptures and all that other stuff to basically depict how what you're told in the Bible is not exactly how it was inscribed. But just stuff like that makes you think outside the box. I love books like that. That's what books are supposed to be for, to make you think. But
exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't really care for like the fantasy. Type of, I like self-help books. I like books that's like, do this, you do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, they don't scare me. The novels, I done read them, 50 Shades of Grey, blah, blah, blah. But I'm in the space now where I'm trying to develop.
If it's fantasy, it's manga. That's about as fantasy as I'm going to get with a book. Other than that, if I'm deep into a book, it's for some cultural reference, historical reference, something that's teaching me more about my field and different methodologies or modalities, or it's something that's like a self-help type book. Other than that, Eric Jerome Dickey books, that was high school.
Right.
We ain't reading books just for fun. Go watch a movie if you want to do that part. But this is for edification. So.
All right. Well, we got past the easy part. Let's get into it. So, can you share a bit about your background and then your journey into becoming a licensed therapist?
Okay. So a little bit about which part about my background you want to know about? You want to know about the childhood, the teen years, the college experience, the adulthood? I'm sure you don't want the entire timeline. We ain't got that kind of time.
We ain't got that much time, but let's say, maybe right before going into this new realm of being a therapist and helping other people.
So I ended up, originally I went and got my undergrad in psychology. So my BA was in education with a concentration in psychology. So I already knew I wanted to work with people, and I just had an interest in learning why people do the things that they do. I started off in psychology because I wanted to learn more about myself and why did I think the ways that I thought and things of that nature. My first psychology class when I went to El Camino, First psychology class was black psychology. Still got the book. Haven't forgot the class ever since I took it. But from then on, I knew I wanted to dive more into understanding why people do what they do and how they think and behaviors and all that other stuff. Played ball through college, did a little bit of pro, got injured, came back, was a trainer for a while, went back to finish my master's. At the time, I was dating somebody that was an MSW. I didn't know anything about the social work degree. I was in a different degree. I was going through sports management because I wanted to combine psychology and sports management to be able to work at a university with student athletes. She introduced me to the social work program, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a way for me to kind of still do what I want to do, but it's a different title, different degree on paper. So went and finished that master's, and from then on, it was just me working with people. I'd already been working with people since undergrad. I started off working with youth, doing inner city programs for, low income families and things of that nature. I was doing that since 2008. And then I finished my master's in 2017. But I had been working in group homes and all this other stuff up until then. So as I've been in the field coming into licensure, I've noticed that I want to help more of my community and people of color. Mm-hmm. Before, it was just like I just want to be of service to people, from athletes and then just the service in the community in general. And as I've gotten more into it, it's like, nah, I have an opportunity to be representation. Ain't a lot of black male therapists. It's growing, right, which is good. But I always use the punchline or the stat line of like black men represent like 1%. I think it's 2 or 3 now, but normally we represent like 1 to 2% of all male therapists in the country, or all therapists in general in the country. So I get to be that unicorn. I get to be the therapist that people actually get to see. Like, we hear about therapists or we see them on TikTok today, but you don't actually get to have a conversation with a therapist. And I get to be that, and I pride myself on being accessible, showing up and talking to people, because I'm a regular person just like everybody else. But being able to do that has kind of helped propel me more in this field of like, I get to be something that we need, but I also get to be touchable. So that's kind of been the main motivation. I want to help my community, especially men of color, black men, to like feel safe enough to express and talk and process and progress and do all these other things, to prioritize themselves, not in a selfish way, but to feel like you are important. Way. Yeah, you are important, so take care of yourself. And I don't just mean in like a monetary way.
Right.
Actually take care of yourself and make better decisions. So.
Wow, that's dope. Well, so how do you think personally in your upcoming, do you think that had like an influence on why you wanted to become a therapist? Like the things you've been through that you wanted to work out within yourself?
Absolutely. I'm very open and honest that I was not the most confident in myself. I was hardworking, but I didn't always believe a lot of positives about myself. It wasn't until really in undergrad, a little bit of post-grad, that I started to build a little bit more confidence. But my thing was, in my perspective, the stereotypical male mindset of like, I am what I accomplish. So I always got to accomplish more to be more. People aren't going to appreciate me or value me unless I accomplish this or unless I accomplish that. So I was in high school, like, yeah, I know girls aren't paying attention to me and I'm not this and I'm not that, but I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then people are going to respect me. And I accomplished all those things, but it still didn't change how I felt about myself. So the more that I got into psychology and learned all these different distortions and behavior patterns and how traumas affect you and all that other stuff, that made me understand how to dive deeper into myself. And then I understand the importance of it in other people, because I'm on a team full of 110 other dudes from all across the country, and they going through shit too. Especially, a lot of us are coming from inner city areas, mostly black kids, and our coaches are like country-ass conservative white coaches. Like, they're not going to really understand what we're going through, and the only people we can really trust is each other, but we don't really understand it either, because we're trying to figure it out all at the same time. I'm looked as one of the smart ones. You the real smart. You the smart athlete. You the one that's in grad school. And I'm thinking like, I'm regular. Y'all think I'm smart. I can only imagine what y'all think of yourselves. So definitely my personal experiences helped push me more into wanting to be more prevalent in the field.
That's nice. And that's definitely something that is very much considered an anomaly is Black men in therapy, because it's always being looked at as something that's like, I won't say frowned upon in the Black community, but it's like foreign. Like, you know, you go to a therapist, something wrong with you, or like, you know, it's the stigma about therapy and just mental health is like, if you taking care of it, something's wrong with you. Instead of just wanting to just be on a step ahead of yourself, like, you know what, it's some habits I want to change, and I got to start doing this, and I got to start doing that. When you vocalize that, people look at you like, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, why do something got to be wrong because I'm saying I need to change something about myself? Like,
I mean, we live in a very reactive society, a very reactive culture of American joke culture. We don't pay attention to shit until shit goes wrong. And even then, we don't really pay attention to it. We just put something pretty over it.
Put a Band-Aid on top.
Yeah, I always say put a Band-Aid on the bullet wound. Like, that ain't going to do nothing. It's not helping you. Like, you got to go through the process of removing the bullet and suturing up the wound and then the healing. Like, there's a process that goes to making this thing better. But as long as it looks like it's okay, then we're fine. And that's what we've been conditioned to do, especially as people of color, because a lot of our habits or our culture in America comes from survival. So we're trying to do things to be able to survive as opposed to doing things to help us thrive. So we're reacting to our environment as opposed to learning how to be a better version of ourselves. So we don't address shit until it pops up. As long as things seem okay and as long as everything is calm, don't shake the table. Let's just, you found a steady place and just cruise and ride it on out.
But shit, it's people that know they crazy and still want to act like they don't need therapy.
I think that's an accountability issue, because it's a lot of people like, if you can say you crazy, you ain't crazy.
Right, yeah.
I'm
crazy.
Right.
I be saying it because I be joking. Like, you know I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. Like, I have sense. Like, I don't crash out. Like, I'm not fucking stupid. Like, but like, I might say some shit that'll be like, damn, she crazy. Like, I might say something crazy, but I'm not like drive like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like off the edge.
I think some crazy stuff might just be
it's
like,
levels, right?
Well, I wouldn't even say it's levels. I think a lot of stuff that we may deem as crazy is that we're so used to not being honest and candid about certain things, because we're so used to performing and hiding aspects of ourselves, that when somebody does show themselves vulnerably, even if it's in the wrong way at the wrong time, but we're surprised by it, because everybody's so used to keeping the mask on to hide who they really are, as opposed to saying like, no, I really struggle with this. So I wouldn't call it crazy. I've seen crazy.
Yeah,
I can show you some crazy. I've dealt with some so-called crazy people, which I'm not a fan of crazy because everything has a different diagnosis.
Yeah.
But I've seen people that like, oh yeah, you really not in your right frame of mind. And you not that. You just don't want to be accountable to the shit that you did. So now you saying that you crazy to kind of make it sound okay. Or you're using it as a defense mechanism. You saying you crazy to get people to leave you alone because you don't know how to establish boundaries properly. So it's a lot of different situations as to why we use crazy, but it ain't the real crazy.
It ain't the real crazy.
Not at all.
The real crazy, you gonna be in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
Off that shit.
Yeah, you gonna get that booty juice. Somebody gonna make sure you get that booty juice. If you really crazy, you gonna get that booty juice. You ain't getting no booty juice, then you hush it up. You just need to be accountable to some behaviors that you need to change up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you personally find the most rewarding about what you do?
A transformation. I won't say I enjoy seeing people in crisis, but I enjoy seeing people come in one way and leave another, even if it's not perfect. Like, I let other people know in the field, like, you're never going to see somebody reach the end of their journey unless you came in at that part of their journey and you're supposed to usher them through the rest of it, right? For the most part, we just planting seeds. So if I'm your first therapist, I'm just planting the seed in the grand scheme of your journey. Or I may be coming in and cultivating the seeds that have already been planted. Or I'm harvesting the fruit that has grown. Or I'm starting the process over. But I'm never going to be there from start to finish. But I like being able to see some transition within the point in time that I'm in your life. So if somebody's coming in and just from like a consultation or a couple sessions or whatever the case is, and you can see like, oh, I can actually start talking about these things, or oh, I never thought about this that way, or oh, this or oh, that. I've gotten the ability to affect some sort of change in your life. Just by me helping you to see a slightly different perspective is no telling how many different alternatives that could happen in your life. It's like to nerd out a little bit, it's like the multiverse. Like one little split can create a number of different possibilities. And I like being able to be a person that can help you open up endless possibilities. Because before you might have been pigeonholed here, but I helped you change just 5%, and that 5% helps you create a different trajectory of what could happen. So I enjoy being able to help people do that.
Yeah, that is a good thing. That's a beautiful thing, because you helping somebody shine their light, it also does something for you at the end of the day, you know, and you just being yourself. It ain't like it's taxing you to do that. You doing what you love, which is dope. Yeah, that's beautiful. So what are the common challenges or issues that people come to you for? Like, what are the most that you've seen? What do you specialize in? Or should I ask that?
It's a little bit of a different thing. So if you ask what I specialize in, like there's different modalities. So modalities are just like different perspectives that you use in therapy. So a lot of people may hear about CBT because everybody's a TikTok therapist now. So CBT is something that people know about, but I have CBT, I have EMDR. I'm going through learning brain spotting right now. I want to get more credentials or training in sex therapy. I have motivational interviewing. Like I'm trying to gain as many different aspects of modalities as possible. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is non-conventional. One of the companies I'm a director for, we're Black owned and queer owned. So we service a lot of people in the queer community. So that's anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community. I'm polyamorous, so I get a lot of poly couples or non-monogamous couples and things of that nature. So supporting them, that's part of my niche, so to speak. I'm able to work with other couples or people that identify non-conventional relationships. What people end up coming in a lot for is really identity issues. Like they got to an aspect in their life where they don't know who they are anymore, and they're ready to take the mask off. So I am tired of living whatever mask I've had on all this time, and I want to take that shit off and learn who I actually am. Or so it's something identity-wise, it's something, some sort of mother trauma. We may talk a lot about stereotypically how fathers hurt their children. I hear way more stories of how mothers have traumatized their children more so than fathers. Some stuff as far as sexuality and identity is concerned, because like I said, we service the queer community, but mostly it's like they want to figure out themselves, they want to figure out a relationship, or they want to process what they've been through in their childhood to get a different perspective on how it's affected them up until now.
Okay. Damn. So I'm sorry that this stuck out to me, but you said you was polyamorous, right? He said, "Yeah, here it go."
Yeah, like I said, and
I ain't got nothing bad to say. I just was gonna ask you this about that, because we all have, well, not all of us, but most of us have grown up to learn about monogamy. That's what we've been taught.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of talk about how if everybody lived a polyamorous lifestyle, it would fit better for society. Do you believe that? Or do you believe that whatever works for a person, whether that's monogamy, polyamorous relationships, or whatever the case may be, a person should just do what they want to do?
Yeah, I'm not cookie cutter in saying that one particular way is best for everybody. Everybody's different. Everybody has different perspectives. My main thing is challenge what you've been told and make sure that if you are making a decision, that you're making an informed, understood decision as opposed to just conforming into what you've been indoctrinated into. Most of us have been indoctrinated into thinking that monogamy is right and anything else is wrong, which is not 100% true. We're just now getting to a point where we can say that same-sex relationships are okay, but before they were wrong, which is not true. It's like you love who you love, and same-sex relationships have been around for thousands of years. That's not something new. But our society has told us that one thing is particularly wrong and one thing is particularly right, when that's not how the world is created. There's multiple variations of everything on this planet.
It's multiple realities.
There's multiple perspectives of
it's
everything.
Multiple perspectives,
Right.
opinions, realities, everything. Like, so, and that's why I love the way that I think sometimes, because, well, all the time, because I'm open to that. Like, I'm
Right.
open to learning about it. Even if it's not something that I would partake in, it's just being able to speak to somebody about that. If they partake in that and me being open to the knowledge, that's good for me, because at least I won't walk away with thinking, oh, well, my way, they doing something wrong. I don't want to feel like that, because even I can have to question monogamy. Like, motherfuckers get cheated on all the fucking time.
Right.
So it's like, really, what is the right way? Ain't no right way. It's
Right.
just what works for you.
Well, I'll say that the right way is to learn how to communicate freely. And a lot of people cheat because they don't know how to speak honestly, or they feel like if they share their true feelings, they're going to be judged or shamed for it. And we do a really good job, especially in American culture, but in any of the different cultures, whether it's religious culture, whether it's black culture, you know, Southern Christian Baptist black culture, whether it's conservative culture, American culture, whatever, we do a real good job in a lot of different cultures at shaming each other into conforming into what we say is supposed to be the way that you're supposed to do things. So we end up taking that into our relationships to where I may feel a particular way and I don't know how to communicate to my partner that they're neglecting me, or I feel neglected by whatever they're deciding to do in our relationship. So now I resent them. And I have my implicit or confirmation bias from all the different things that I see. So it makes me just continue to build on top of this story that they're treating me wrong and doing me wrong and neglecting me and doing this, that, and the other, blah, 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 to where I come across somebody that honeymoon phase, they make me feel good for a short period of time, and it's the grass is greener over there. Where if I just felt comfortable enough to go to my partner and have an authentic, honest, open conversation and know that we will be receptive of each other, we probably could resolve whatever we feel the issue is or decide to part amicably, and there doesn't have to be cheating. But everybody's in it for their own fears and their own selfish desires, so we end up having a large number of cheating. And that happens in poly situations too.
Yeah.
You know, people are hiding what they're doing for whatever reason. So
Why are you hiding poly?
Because-
you gotta fucking hide?
no, you don't. But like I
Like,
said,
that don't make no
people
damn
feel
sense.
shameful. People don't understand. Like you have the leeway to speak openly and freely about something. But just because you can speak freely doesn't mean you are able to speak freely. Just because you can communicate doesn't mean that you are going to communicate,
Yeah.
so to speak. So there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, you can come sit down and tell me anything. But it's like that doesn't mean that you're
when you
going
do
to,
it,
or you actually
that they
understand
gonna
it.
receive it, right?
Right. So it's like I've had in my own personal relationships, I've had partners tell me, well, I did this because I didn't know how to tell you. It's like, you know, I talk to people for a living, right? You know, I've heard any and everything you could possibly. There's nothing you can say that's going to frustrate me. It frustrates me more that you don't have enough wherewithal to understand that you can come to me and tell me anything. So either I'm doing a bad job of creating a safe space for you, which I don't think that's the case, or you're in your own head about something and you created a distortion that made you make a bad decision that now hurts the both of us. So that's a communication issue. So I think that's what a lot of cheating comes from, because we don't feel comfortable to actually communicate.
Saying what you want. Yeah.
We'll talk at each other, but we ain't gonna talk with each other.
Yeah.
Oh, you been through that?
I mean, yeah, I've got cheated on.
You about to say you had the Negro spiritual hum there for a second. That
Yeah.
only means you done seen some things.
I've seen some things. I've been through some things.
I ain't gonna.
And
I'm not gonna be a therapist and start asking questions. I'm here to answer the questions. So I'm gonna sit on my hands today.
Yeah, you don't gotta ask me the question. We can book a session.
I'm gonna stay in my role. I'll stay in my role. I understand.
Nah, but I don't believe in cheating though. I don't believe in it. I definitely believe it's a choice.
Absolutely.
I definitely believe that you don't have to do it.
Absolutely.
You know. So yeah, that's
You don't have to, but I definitely believe that people will, whatever's going on in their mind and their emotions will justify it. So
that makes sense. I mean, we human, so
yeah,
it don't make it okay, but it makes
does
sense.
not.
Yeah. What role do you think that mindset plays in personal development and growth?
Mindset drives the boat. So whatever your mindset is, that's where everything else is going to be navigated to go through. So if you, whatever, my perspective is I look left, then I'm gonna continue to drift left in everything that I do. I can't go straight if my perspective is completely left. So whatever your mindset is, that's where the rest of your life is gonna go. But the tricky part is your mindset is constantly changing. You're never the same exact person 100% of the time. There's always some external factor or even internal factors that are going to affect you to see something a particular way. And you're either going to respond to it or analyze it or understand it or whatever. You got a choice how you respond to that situation. But your mindset in that moment is going to dictate what choices you make. And that shapes your life experience altogether. So if your mindset's not where you would like it to be, chances are you're in a situation that you would not like to be in. So,
why you think people come to therapy, but they end up kind of like, I won't even say like, what is it like when people that be on drugs, they go back to drugs, relapse? Why do you think people relapse their behavior sometimes, even if they don't go to therapy? What if they say, for instance, like sometimes when I say, for instance, for myself, I will speak for myself when I say this because I don't want to act like I'm perfect. It's been times where I will say, and I know that I have this issue where I react very quickly. Like I say when I get upset, sometimes I react quickly, or I'll say, or I'll just try to resolve the issue quickly instead of like breathing through it or like thinking about it first, or like shoot first, ask questions later type vibes. Like I don't like it, but I'm a very reaction type of person, and I've learned as of recently to really back a little bit more.
yeah.
But sometimes like things that happen and I get triggered and I go right back to that old part of myself. So what is it in people that makes us kind of our behavior still go back to what is comfortable to?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of that is it's a distortion that it's called regression. So typically when we talk about regression, somebody has been triggered, and because they've been triggered, their natural behavioral response is to revert back to, more times than not, it's like a childlike state. It's not always a childlike state, because sometimes you can regress to an old bad habit that you were making progress with, but since it's comfortable and it's programmed in your brain, you just regressed back to that thing because I don't know what else to do, right? It's like, for us growing up with computers at a different time, if something don't work right, flick the power button, unplug it, control alt delete. We don't know shit else, but I'm gonna go with any of those because that's what I'm comfortable with and that's what I know, as opposed to let me go to over here, let me quick to run this program, let me click to run this diagnostic, let me see if I needed to, like, there's so many other options I can choose, but I don't understand that in that moment. I'm just like, fuck, I need to get this done, so let me just go ahead and just do the shit that I control alt delete and shut everything down, goddamn it. But that's all we know. But that's just a form of regression, and that normally comes from some sort of injury. Now, it doesn't mean that it's the therapist's fault all the time with injury, but sometimes therapists may move faster than the client is prepared for. And it's not that they're trying to rush you through it. It's just like, okay, I may see that I think they're making progress in this area. So we may be able to bump it up and start talking about these different things. And that person becomes resistant. And then that resistance turns into them just defaulting and regressing to some old behaviors. And next thing you know, they done missed a couple sessions and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, because they were injured and they need some time to kind of repair from that. Sometimes that injury is just that person's not ready to be accountable. And it's like you held up a mirror to their face and they wasn't ready to look at all the pimples and dimples and all of it. It's like, oh, I wasn't ready to look at that yet. Okay, look, you just got me to start taking the makeup off, and now you want me to actually look at my skin? Fuck you, all right? I ain't ask you to do all that just yet. One step at a time. So then now you frustrated because now I actually have to be accountable to some shit that I see, or it's shifting my whole perspective, and I can't handle that right now. I need to take a break to really understand how big what you just helped me realize really affects everything else in my world. So it's a number of different reasons why people regress, but it normally comes from some sort of injury.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, since I was speaking kind of from like a personal perspective, I would say I kind of find it challenging sometimes because maybe unconsciously it's a comfortable go-to, but I know that it has to be a whole perspective change. It's just, I'm conscious of that, but it's just like, I feel like certain things about me just not gonna change. Like, as far as like, I'm gonna cuss you out if you say some bullshit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, but I don't go around hurting people. I don't go around being toxic. Like, I'm not a toxic person. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say something if it's bullshit. I got a low tolerance for bullshit. Like, I just do. But I think that, I need to probably just get a little bit more nicer, maybe in the way that it come out. Maybe I don't know.
So,
like, I'm trying to find a way to like ease it out to where I don't gotta.
We all have to find our own balance.
Yeah.
Right. What I think is balanced may be true, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get right to it. You have to find your own path to that balance. Now, with what you're saying, I'll say the terminology of cognitive dissonance. So I'll let you do your own research on what cognitive dissonance. Right.
I know what that means.
But sometimes with cognitive dissonance, we try to find ways to justify not changing a behavior. And we're having this internal conflict of what we know versus what we do.
What we do, yeah.
And we're trying
but you know better, but you got this strong belief that...
Well, I'm a good person, so if I act this way, it's got to be everybody else's fault. And it's just you finding ways to confirm your own bias. And it's
sometimes I do that because maybe it's just some backhanded stuff that I just feel like I didn't get justified in the past, and I'm trying to justify it now. So, like, I just be feeling like, well, shit, so what? Like, God don't make mistakes. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? And I believe in God. So, I'm going to just leave it like that.
It's in God's hands now.
So what are ways that you help somebody cultivate a positive mindset? If somebody came in super down, depressed maybe, and you seen them transform into somebody that was a little bit more optimistic, moving a little lighter, high vibrational.
I always address people's habits. If they're a little bit more resistant with the mindset, so reframing, taking a mindset or a distortion and reframing it to a different perspective that's more healthy for you. If they're more resistant to that, then I'll start addressing their patterns and their behavior. Man, what's your eating like? What's your sleeping like? And I can't step out of scope, so I don't go into full trainer mode, but I do help people understand what you take into your body is going to affect how your body performs. And only we hear that when it comes to nutrition, but that's music, that's your content on social media, how much social media, how much TV, the frequency of it. Are you exercising? Are you not exercising? Are you getting outside? Like, what are the things that you are putting into your body on a regular basis, and how does that affect the way that you see things? Like, I had a client a long time ago came in super depressed, seeing everything pessimistically, and I start talking about habits, and it's like, you listening to Rod Wave every day. Hey, bro.
Hell.
How you expect to have a healthier
is gonna put your ass
How you
in
expect
depression.
to have a healthier mindset if your go-to to music because of your mood is always something that's just going to continue to enable that mood? You have to start addressing your behaviors. It's like if I'm
Summer Walker, let's be for real. I love Summer Walker, but she toxic. She gonna keep you from a man.
Absolutely.
Say that
a lot of the music that is peddled is definitely not. It's not enabling us to have healthy mindsets. Like I've talked about that on our podcast and just in general. Like I'm definitely unk status now because I don't always listen to music with lyrics.
I'm starting to do that now.
We old head status now. I'm listening. I mean, I've always loved jazz. Even when I was in undergrad, I used to be the one in the library listening to jazz and classical as I was studying, which was wild to people because I'm some kid from LA with gold teeth that's listening to classical music studying. And you play football, you doing this for show. Like, no, this is like, really just what I do.
This is actually relaxing. Like, I was just listening to Beethoven Symphony 7 the other night. And I love Beethoven.
You just let it.
Mozart. I love it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So that could be an aspect of somatics. So somatic therapy is how things affect your nervous system and being able to recognize where certain traumas or feelings resonate in your body. So certain types of music will manifest or create certain sensations in our body. So you could listen to Beethoven and start to feel more relaxed, more safe, and things of that nature. Just like I can listen to insert whatever four or 5 letter rapper that is going on today because they
Lil
go by
B.
acronyms and all that. But you can enter whoever, and that creates like a certain reaction in your body, and you may not feel traumatized, but you may not recognize how you hyper vigilant and like it's like those things affect you. So you do have to understand. I can listen to this music in this environment, but I can't listen to this music in this environment.
Yeah,
and these types of music may be better. And if I'm just listening to 1 or 2 genres all the time, I'm not doing myself any service. I should have a plethora of different music.
For sure.
For me, I always got music going at the house, but it's either jazz or Japanese city pop or something that is like some underground rap of some sort, something that's more melodic, something that's musical, some Masego FKJ or Kamasi Washington or something. I'm always listening to that, or Hertz sounds to kind of
frequency music.
Like those are the things that I find myself listening to the last 4 or 5 years more than anything else.
That's dope. Yeah, same here too. I mean, I switch it up every now and again. You know,
you got to.
I love my people. You know, I always love us.
It's okay. You know, it's okay to throw some Boosie on there once in a while, you know. I have my moments where, you know, I got to throw some Beat King on if I'm feeling ratchet. It's okay. It's okay. And it's all right for us to have multiple facets to ourselves.
Right.
But when you're trying to shift your mindset from one thing that's not benefiting you to another, you have to be mindful of what you putting in your system. So. Yeah,
you got to retrain your brain and learn unlearn a lot of shit that you were teaching yourself, like, and that's a process. You probably do got to cut out for a certain amount of time. Like, it was a certain amount of time where I wasn't listening to no like rap or nothing for like a good couple of weeks, and I was fine with it. I was going to the gym, just listening to podcasts, and I don't know, it was just something in me that was just like, I didn't have that urge to listen to no tick 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 tick.
I was tired, baby.
My brain was like,
my brain and my body is tired. I need a change. I'm tired of this shit.
But now I've gotten to a space now where it's like, it doesn't really affect me like that, because I kind of can see the music industry for what it is anyway. It's just entertainment, so I don't embody it. You know, I'm mindful, but I don't embody it as much as I used to. You know,
it's super beneficial to recognize that. So that's normally where I'll start helping somebody change, because that's jarring to their identity. If I've told myself that these behaviors are who I am, and I have to realize that these behaviors have contributed to me being in this space that I'm in, and I don't like the space that I'm in, then I have to address all these things, from what I put into my body content-wise, nutrition-wise, behaviors, even changing up relationships with people.
Yep.
So.
That's a fact. Whew. How you balance supporting but also challenging your clients?
I like inflicting pain.
Oh my God.
To a degree. not in a bad way, but I'm not the pity pat therapist. That's not my thing. I like every once in a while just having a nice little, I call them gut punches. So I done went through the whole session and had this conversation to make you arrive at this point, and the session about to end. I'm like, here, I want you to think about this over the next 2 weeks. Wow. And they be like, oh.
You walk away like,
like, yeah, got him.
Motherfucker.
Not in a harmful way, but I enjoy being able to support you in that way. I'm here to plant seeds. So I'm planting seeds the entire time, because they're going to sprout into something that will bear fruit for you at some point in time. So sometimes I have to help you understand the fruit that's going to be bared with this certain question. So I led a trail for you up until this point. And I want to just support you in this way, to have you continuously thinking more about yourself until I see you again. But I have to recognize on my end, your problem ain't my problem. That's why I enjoy the gut punch, because it's something that's going to make you think about you more intentionally for the next week or 2 weeks until you see me again. And I release it. The second you get off my screen,
I ain't even think about the shit.
yeah, I could just let me stretch, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, whatever the case is, get ready for the next person. Like, I don't have the time or ability to internalize and personalize every single person that gets in front of me. I don't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
That's how people end up having compassion fatigue, or they burn out when it comes to being in this field.
Yeah.
I luckily, through the things that I've been through, I don't internalize people's shit.
That's good.
Only thing I care, did you pay your invoice on time? That's the
Okay.
only thing I'm gonna get stressed out about.
That check.
Right. Other than that, this is your journey. I would be
right.
selfish to personalize your journey. You're not here for me. You're here for you.
Yourself,
so
right.
I want you to pay more attention to you. So that's how I support. I want to reorient everything back to you focusing on you. And then I have to realize once you're off my screen, I let it go. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
You and God.
You gonna give me all the tea when you come back, and we can talk about it. And hopefully, I get to hear how you made some progress, or what I hit you with help make you think throughout. I would like to hear that. And if it's not that, then we can start over and do the process again. Sometimes we have to keep going. It's A to C, and we stop back at A to C, A to C, and then at some point you'll get to A to D.
Have you ever pissed somebody off, like, with them gut punching questions and shit? Like, and they was like, hold on, nigga, you got me fucked up.
Oh, nah, not like that. Not to where they triggered. I've never had anybody, well, as a therapist, no. Working in the community or in my personal life, absolutely. The benefit of therapy is like people are coming there because they want the gut punch to a degree, and they're embracing it, and I'm cool with that. So that I have my clients that be like, "Oh, you about to say some shit, ain't you?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm glad you see it coming. So since you already prepared for it, here's what I want you to do." And that's cool. So they have this dread to a degree of like, oh man, he about to make me think about some shit. But that's what you came here for, and they enjoy it, and they notepad and all, and they ready, and they write it down, and they go through it. So it's not a negative thing. But in my personal life and in other settings, for sure, I've had people that, I'm just being honest with you, and they get upset. I've worked with people that have substance use issues, and a lot of my therapy is I'm taking what you tell me and I'm repeating it back to you, but I'm framing it differently to where you can understand it from a different perspective. I'm not adding anything else to what you said.
Right. So what you getting mad at me for?
You're getting mad at me because now you're understanding, or you're being faced with the thing that you were trying to avoid. You came with an expectation of me telling you that you're right, and I'm helping you understand that you're wrong, and you're upset about that. So now I've had people like, I don't need nobody telling me what to do. I didn't tell you what to do. I just told you what you said back to you in a different perspective, and you're not ready to face that, which is okay, because you get to choose what you do with that information. I'm just making sure that I confirm this is what you're telling me, correct? This is what you said, this, and this. These are the things that you said? Yeah, I said that. So did you think about these parts over here? Man, I ain't... All right, so you can get mad all you want to.
Oh, that's all you have to say, Playboy. Don't get your ass up out of here.
You were not ready there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you to go there, but the whole point is call and response to a degree. You're sharing things with me. I'm talking back to you to make sure that I'm interpreting and understanding what you're saying to me properly, and giving it back to you in a slightly different, reframed manner to where you can understand it from a different perspective. And we just keep going back and forth until you reach a point of realization, and then we move to the next thing. So I've had people get triggered like that, or even in my personal life in relationships, I notice stuff or behaviors that you
trigger.
Oh, absolutely.
You're gonna trigger anybody you come across.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because you're a critical thinker, and it's in your field of work, so it's automatic. You practice it all day, so it's like, bitch, you can't get shit past me.
No, it's the.
I'm gonna make
I don't need you to be my
therapist.
Skeletons. I don't need you to psychoanalyze. Like, I'm not psychoanalyzing. I'm doing what any partner would do. I'm assessing the person in front of me, because if you talk about you want to be in partnership, I use partnership as opposed to like boyfriend and girlfriend, like a lot of other monogamous folks may use. I just say partnership because it's easy that way. Anywho, whatever type of partnership it is, I'm assessing to see if you are a good investment for a partner, just like you're assessing to see if I'm a good investment as a partner. We're both interacting with each other to understand more, to be able to create safety and understanding. So I'm not psychoanalyzing you because I'm doing this shit for free. I ain't charging you. If I'm the one paying for dates, I'm paying to psychoanalyze you. That don't even make sense. That's me hustling backwards. I ain't doing that. But I'm doing this to make sure that this is a positive, safe environment for me to continuously invest in. So if I'm pointing something out to you, it's because it might be of detriment to our partnership. And you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And you also
you've
don't
been
want...
thinking you know what you're talking about.
Right.
You don't
It's
know
like
what the fuck you talking about, girl.
You don't...
It's okay.
Okay. You don't see this. I have all this. We've been talking for some time. I get to have all this extra context on what your life has been like up until this point. So all these things have happened, and I'm seeing you do this right now. You don't think that those kind of correlate, and you bring in some old stuff into. You don't see it. Okay, you don't see that. So it's just me. I'm tripping.
But better that than to have somebody that's just gonna want to be your enemy and not want to help you come to a common resolve in the relationship. Like, we need a resolution, like Aaliyah. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, we ain't supposed to be beefing. We supposed to be trying to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah.
So we can, figure out where each other differences is, what we finna do to move forward. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about that. And unfortunately, I haven't been around people who are solution orientated. They would prefer to have an ego battle or whatever that comes with that. But I always, on my end, I sit back and analyze, like, damn, like, because I'm very critical of myself. And I try not to be too hard on myself as I'm learning through therapy and stuff, just to give myself grace. But I pick myself apart sometimes because I overanalyze about where I fell out with somebody or what I could have did wrong or what I should have did. Like, so that part, I already know I got down pat. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Because one thing about me, I'm not just this how I am. Like, I am how I am, but I'm trust and believe I'm checking myself. So you ain't got to do it, okay? I got this.
Let me check me and then we'll check in with you tomorrow.
Okay, I got this. You feel me? And I know some, as grown ass people, we don't want to be told about ourselves. No. But you get faced with this with relationships and partnerships, like you say. People are mirrors. Like, we come across people that show us things about ourselves that we might need to work on. It might not be like, I'm exactly like them, but they trigger something in me I need to work on, or however it comes up. It's just the partnerships and the connections you have with people, it just shows you who you are at the end of the day. Right. So,
but it's easier for me to blame than to accept.
It's easier to blame them than it is to be like, you know what, I perceived that wrong. I probably just, I was tripping, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or something came up and I don't know. I don't want to. I'm going into therapy right now. Damn. No, it's supposed to be about you. I'm sorry.
Hey, but that's the key. The path of least resistance is acceptance and kind of move. Like, most relationships, especially romantic ones, are the fucking Spider-Man meme. We're all pointing at each other. We're all the fucking same person.
Right.
But I don't want to admit that you are just like me and there's parts of you that I see within myself and vice versa. If I can just admit, like, you might have a point. Whether I agree or not, you might have a point, and I understand how you can see that this way. And I want to make sure that you understand why I see it my way, and then we can figure it out from there. We ain't got to agree. Everything ain't got to be perfect. We ain't got to be at odds. We ain't got to beef. We ain't got to fight. But we damn sure ain't going to hide.
Yeah.
Not my
damn
thing.
Sure ain't going to hide.
Yeah, I don't want no hiding.
Come out on your ass.
Yeah, no, I don't want no hiding. If you want to just hide in the performative shit, like, I'm not cool on the performative. You want to do the shit that looks good. You want the Instagram relationship that's all cute and seems like everything is perfect. Them the main people that be sitting in my chair. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Are you comfortable being uncomfortable? Because if you talking about being with somebody forever, it's going to be uncomfortable multiple times.
It's gonna get cracking plenty of times.
So
you gonna wanna.
He's like, you know what? Let me understand how I react. Let me understand how they react. Let me admit my contribution to this, and let me be willing and hopefully hear their contribution to this. And we can resolve this in 10 minutes. Because right now I feel like saying some shit that I don't need to be saying.
Let's
so
just wait.
I'm going to remove myself and come back and then we can hug it out, and then we can have a different conversation. But right now, we don't want to be happy. We don't want to be resolved. We want to be right. And that's the problem.
And that's the problem.
Because our shame makes us feel like I need to be right so that I can feel like I'm justified.
In this situation, it's the ego.
You ain't got no time for ego.
We ain't got no time. What do you think about the biggest issue in dating in LA? I mean, I'm not going to say in LA. I'm going to stop. I don't want to push that narrative like it's just an LA vibe. Because it's worldwide from what I see. It ain't got shit to do with the city.
No.
But I feel like I see why people say it because it's a fast-paced city. You know, everything is out here. Everybody's trying to come. But just in general, what do you think about dating in this new era, 2024, internet type shit?
So I'll say 2 parts. The LA part, I'll say everybody has options and nobody wants to admit they're an option. Everybody feels like they are the option, or they should be the option for whoever they want to be picked by. But that's not the case. You are an option, just like everybody else in this world is an option.
Yeah.
Right? I use the stat all the time, but our divorce rate is 52-53%. All them people thought they were the option at one point in time, and they are clearly finding out that they are no longer the option for whatever reason. In LA,
That's humbling, y'all. Y'all better humble y'all motherfucking selves.
And I mean, we can dive into divorce all you want to, and we ain't got to do that. But some of y'all will realize that you probably the problem, and you contributing to that statistic. But we ain't got to go there. But everybody wants. The kind of shifting into the societal part is the entitlement. Everybody feels entitled to having what they want, but not having to earn it. A relationship and rapport and trust and connectivity with someone takes effort. It takes time. It takes investment. It takes earning. It doesn't come easy. You are an unknown to this person. Just because I'm infatuated by your bits and parts and you infatuated by my bits and parts and we want to connect them repeatedly until there's a nice explosion. That doesn't mean that we are meant to be in partnership, right? That's just a physical conversation. Hey, nothing wrong. Be diabolical, be deplorable, be filthy. Enjoy it. But that's just a physical conversation between 2 people. That does not mean that we have built enough rapport to work into partnership. You have to earn the ability to trust one another to be in partnership. And everybody feels entitled enough to have the title without having to earn it. Everybody wants the championship ring, but you don't want to go to fucking practice.
Dr. Umar called it pleasure contracts. When it's just the benefits without the relationship.
I mean, it's like a transactional relationship, but the tricky part is, say for today, especially with younger people, the transaction is if you want a physical whatever with me, you should be willing to provide material. And it's like, nah, sex is an equal opportunity exchange for both people. We're both giving and receiving something. So that cancels out all the extra bullshit. You just want your ego to say, I want you to validate me in the ways that I want to be validated. And I don't even realize the ways I want to be validated aren't healthy for me or you. So I just want you to enable some bullshit so that you can gain access to some stuff and I can control or manipulate the situation in my favor. So we're all manipulating and trying to leverage over one another and nobody's learning how to connect. So if everybody realizes you're an option, and you're not going to be that person's only option at that moment, because ain't nobody walking around LA with just one person on their roster. I don't care who they are. You got kids in middle school that got rosters.
I've done it before, but I was looking stupid. So
you wasn't managing your roster right. You didn't know how to play that fantasy properly.
Because, I mean, they say, like, I don't know. It's like when I like somebody, I just be liking them. Like, and that's the thing, like, it's okay to not put all your eggs in one basket, because that's part of getting to know people. Is like it's a process in getting to know this whole human. Like they've been through life, they have been through all kind of shit, and you have too, and y'all bringing that together. That's not gonna always just go like this. And it might go like this for a certain amount of time, but then it might start going like that, and then it might start going like that, and then it might start like, you know what I'm saying?
Because you don't know that person.
Because you don't know them.
We are more times than not. You don't like that man. You don't like that woman. You like the idea of them. You like the version of them that exists in your mind, and you are trying to get them to conform to that version as much as possible, and that's not the case. Every day that we wake up, we breathe, and we go through this experience called life, we are continuously changing. So that means you have to continuously try to learn this individual. And I say all the time, like roughly every 5 years, we become a brand new person. So if you're talking about life, you're learning new versions of this person in front of you on a regular basis. And if you're not trying to be curious on purpose and figure out who that person is, and you just want them to fit the idea that you have in your mind that best fits you, it ain't gonna fit. But that's what we do. We do that from jump.
Yeah.
I see this is the image that I have of this person, and I'm trying to get them to conform to the version I have of them in my head continuously. I like the idea of them and how it benefits me, and that's why your ass is alone right now.
Whew, it's a lonely road out here, y'all. We need to stop. We need to get a therapist. Okay, they gonna get our asses right.
That's what we here
Reality
for.
checks. Okay, but before we go, I want to say that I had checked out your Instagram. Like, you've been putting a lot of work in with like content for the past like 5 or 6 years. And I love your motivational videos. Like, I love the quotes that you have. And one of them that I came across that I like was one that you said about being woke is fine and great until you realize that you're awake and you have to do something. And it's like being aware of something and not, or having knowledge on something and just sitting on it and like knowing damn well if you knew better, you should do better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I apply that to myself because I know better. You know, sometimes I still fall short, but at the same time, I can see the higher version of myself and I'm trying to get there. I'm not even trying. I'm getting there. I have to change my words a little bit. I'm getting
Absolutely.
better, y'all.
Speak it up.
But yeah, that definitely hit home, and a bunch of other things that you said as well. But thank you so much.
No problem.
This was a very great conversation. Anything you want to get off your chest before we walk away?
I think just in what you shared in regards to the post, what came to mind is this: for you and everybody else that takes in this bit of content, there's always a choice. There's always a choice. So coming into understanding about something, right, that's just the first step. I understand something different, but there's something that I can do. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to mental health, whether it's the most, anxiety or depression, we think that we don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Everything is fixable. It's just, are you willing to sacrifice and make the changes to get to that resolution? But there's never a situation where you can't do anything. So as long as you are empowered enough to understand that there's always a way, and am I ready or willing to find that way, then you'll be fine. It's not going to be perfect, but you'll be fine. There's steps that I can take to be able to get myself to where I want to be. How long it takes, that's entirely up to you. That's your personal journey. The struggles and strifes and ebbs and flows and all that, that's entirely up to you, specific to you. But there is something that you can always do. So don't ever feel like you don't have a choice. You do.
Absolutely. Yes, and we do have choices, and we have a lot of realities to tap into. So whatever reality you want to tap into that motherfucker.
Right.
It's just you gonna be held accountable, but just tap into it and do what you gotta do.
Make sure it's reality though, because some
Make
of y'all tapping into something that ain't reality. Y'all somewhere else.
Not any reality, but you know what I mean.
Just
like,
come be in here, present.
In this one,
where you be here. Don't be somewhere else. Goddamn, like be here. If your body's here, then make sure your mind is here too. Let's just, just throwing that out there, because we got medication for that. If you're not, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I ain't prescribing no medication, but there's people out there for you if you want to be in another reality and your body's existing in this one. That's diagnosable. So please be in this reality.
Where can my people find you on social media?
Everything is King Carter, K11NGCARTER. That has links to my therapy post and all that other stuff on there. So if you're looking for therapy, I got in my link tree, ain't no OnlyFans in there. Sorry to disappoint. I know everybody link got some sort of OnlyFans in it. Mine doesn't. So my link has my different profiles for therapy on there. There's some PDFs with free PDFs of different books on there. I think it's like 50 different books in there. But yeah, just look me up. And if people still use Snapchat, I'm on Snapchat. I don't ever post nothing on there. But if you want to have conversations, King Carter on there as well. Look me up on Instagram. I ain't saying come find me for no free therapy, but I do have conversations.
He got
with
rates.
people. Yeah, I definitely know. You gonna pay, but
this episode might help you.
It might help you.
It might help you to where you don't even need all that.
Yeah, no, you can help me.
Dropping gems.
You can come and if you want to jump in the DM and ask a question, I'm always trying to be friendly. I don't mind having conversation with people. I'm always willing to be a resource to help you find a therapist. I can't be everybody's therapist, so
Right.
I'm more than happy to help you find whatever fits best for you. But if you want to reach me, I always got the phone somewhere. So just go ahead and hit King Carter, K11NGCARTER.
All righty. Well, thank you very much. I had fun.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. And make sure y'all following me on Instagram and YouTube at Ayana.Audible. And until next time, y'all, we out of here. Deuces. Appreciate shit like this is like, see, I pay attention to the universe,
For sure.
like you got a great vibe. You was meant to be here. This is supposed to happen. My guest was supposed to come, but you know how that shit goes. So it's all good. We in this motherfucker.
It's like baddies. I'm a replacement. No problem.
It's not a bad thing.
No. I said like baddies. Oh no, I'd love to be a replacement.
It's not a bad thing at all. But go ahead and tell my people what you do, because you was telling me some good shit, and I fuck with it. So go ahead and tell them.
I'm a photographer, videographer, nurse, mother, fiance.
Okay. Y'all finna get married?
Yeah.
I know that's right. I love black love.
Black love.
I love it.
He's a whole ass Mexican.
Oh, well, you black. So
That's what I said.